I agree with you. I don't like the speculation stuff. Every time a bodybuilder dies, you know, if it's a guy who's competed fairly recently, the first thing they say is he died from steroids.
But before we leave this vaccine issue, what do you think about, because something related to bodybuilders, there's so many bodybuilders, actually we'll do two more topics, so many bodybuilders with kidney replacements that are on immunosuppressive drugs.
Yeah.
I wonder how they fare with COVID.
Well, again, if they're on immunosuppressive drugs, the vaccine is not going to work as well for them. They got to be
and COVID is going to be potentially deadly.
Very deadly. And these guys really need to get, if they've had the 2 injections, they should get a booster right away. If they you know, in fact, I think I just heard on the news. I think the FDA has now made a statement that people who are immunosuppressed should get a booster injection. They actually proved it. So you're definitely those kind of guys. And again, anybody with a depressed immune system, the vaccine's not going to be. It's still going to protect you. Don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be as good as, let's say, somebody with a highly efficient immune system.
Yeah. Well, on this topic, actually, Jerry, something this morning upset me. A couple of my friends sent me a post by a bodybuilding, I guess he's a guru. His name is Dante Trudel. The last time I had been sent a post by him, it was the time Flex Wheeler got his blood clot in his leg and got the surgery. I find that, you know, when somebody passes, I don't like to make a video about health. Like, you know how some people make a video like, oh, this person died from this, so take this supplement. Yeah. I think that's disrespectful. So I don't do that because I don't know the person's life and so on. And he made a post saying, oh, if these couple of supplements, if you're concerned about blood clots, they can help you. And he related it to Flex Wheeler directly in the post. Meanwhile, Flex Wheeler has advanced atherosclerosis and cardiovascular disease. This guy didn't know and just made this post. Anyway, today he made a post yesterday about John Meadows passing. Okay. Specifically, the post was warning people about 2 genetic polymorphisms that are extremely rare. He said actually one was 5% frequency. It's actually 1. Very rare, that can cause increased venous thromboembolism and clotting issues. And I just thought it was interesting because a lot of people have been speculating after John Meadows died. A lot of people commenting on my page, did John Meadows get the vaccine? Not did he get COVID, by the way. Again, by the way, not did he get COVID. But that would be a smarter question. But did he get the vaccine? Which he did. He got a vaccine a few weeks before. Okay. So people have been speculating that caused the clotting issue. And this guy is commenting on the genetic polymorphisms. I thought it'd be cool if we comment on this. From my side, I just want to say there are at least 7 or 8 other SNPs strongly associated with venous thromboembolism and clotting that he didn't mention because he doesn't know about them. And he mentioned 2 random ones, which are hereditary diseases that are very rare. In fact, people there's at least 15 polymorphisms you could check. But what did you think about this and about John Meadows? I don't know if you knew him as well.
Actually, I never met John, but he had a podcast a couple of years ago with another guy, and he contacted me. We did the podcast, and he knew about me. Apparently, he knew of my work and stuff. We got along great. I thought he was a great guy, and I thought his videos were excellent. In fact, he gave me a couple ideas. When they first closed the gym, I was trying to figure out exercise I can do to maintain some muscle. He did a video where he showed some band, using the resistance band. And I actually got a couple of ideas. And I even put a comment under the video. I said, John, thanks a lot for this video. I said, you've given me some great ideas to stay in shape. I never got a response, but that's okay, you know. But the point is, I agree with you. I don't like the speculation stuff. Every time a bodybuilder dies, you know, if it's a guy who's competed fairly recently, the first thing they say is he died from steroids, right? Mm-hmm. And now in the case of John Meadows, you know, the man, as we all know, he had a previous heart attack. Mm-hmm. He's had some cardiovascular. He says he fully recovered.
No, he didn't say that. People claim that he had still necrotic heart tissue and a reduced ejection fraction.
Well, yeah. Well, the medical term for a heart attack is a myocardial infarction. Exactly. Infarction refers to death of tissue. Every time you have a heart attack or a myocardial infarction, a piece of the heart is dead.
Oh, I never knew that. It
is that way. It's dead tissue, necrotic tissue. That's permanent. That doesn't heal. Now, it depends on the extensivity of the damage. If you have a lot of damage, that's problematic because it can set you up for a future serious heart rhythm disturbance, such as not atrial, but what's the other one? The fibrillation that kills people. I forgot what it's called.
It's called atrial fibrillation, isn't it?
Oh, that's the most common one.
There's a couple of them.
Ventricular fibrillation.
Oh, yeah.
That's the death fibrillation. That's the one where you see in the movies where they're putting the cardioversion with a shock. You have 6 minutes to save a person or they're brain dead. What happens with ventricular fibrillation is instead of the heart pumping blood, the left ventricle is the pumping chamber of the heart. Instead of pumping blood throughout the body, all it does is it looks like a bag of worms. It's not pumping. It's just like it's not pumping any blood. So now you think about it. You got 6 minutes before the brain's deprived of oxygen and you die, right? So the problem with the heart attack, if you have an extensive amount of necrotic tissue, again, depending on the nature of the heart, how bad it was, it sets you up for a future, let's say, ventricular fibrillation. That will kill you. That will kill you. So I don't know. I wouldn't even dare to speculate
Exactly.
John's damage. But what I'm saying is I agree with you. If he had a myocardial infarction, he definitely had some heart damage, right? Now, whether it was related to this clot, again, would be pure speculation. Now, as far as the clotting factors go, factor 5 Leiden, which I think is one of the things you're talking about.
That's the one yeah.
Right, now that affects 3 million people, right? Now, the thing about that is...
In the U.S.?
Yes. A lot of these people...
Exactly, not 5%.
No, a lot of these people go through life and no problems. No problem. They have this clotting abnormality. It is genetic, but no problem. But if they do get a serious clotting problem, it is true. They're more prone to pulmonary embolisms, the deep vein thrombosis. When they do get clots, it's much worse, and it could kill you. But again, here's the point. The point is to say, like this guy is speculating, like yourself, we're both on this mindset. I don't like that.
Yeah.
We didn't know if John had that genetic abnormality. There's no evidence. I mean, did you know? I mean,
no, the worst part is this. Not only does he not know that John had, which I don't think he says directly that he did, but the problem is that he's warning people, hey, if you have a clotting issue, check out these 2 SNPs. Whereas there's at least 12 SNPs that are significantly associated with clotting abnormalities, including, for example, I'll just list some: the cell gene, LPL gene, ADRB2 gene, ABO gene, SLC44A2. I mean, they continue. Yeah. And when you present people with this picture of 2 SNPs, he even told them which company to test it with. Well, if you test those 2 and you don't test the other 8, you might think, hey, I have no clotting issue. All the other 8, you have the worst polymorphism. Who knows?
Well, I just should point out, sometimes we forget that the audience isn't as attuned to science as we are. SNP, just so people know, is single nucleotide polymorphism. It's slight changes in genes that can cause genetic abnormalities, or sometimes they're good changes. For example, single SNPs having to do with the HDL production actually have a life extension effect. Yeah. That's why some of these people live to over 100. But
the CETP gene, CETP.
Yeah. Right. But related to what you're saying is absolutely true. And I liken it to heart tests. I think we might have talked about this once when I mentioned that when you go for a lipid panel, blood test to check, let's say, cholesterol and low density lipid, LDL, HDL, all that, it gives you only a general picture. People don't know this. There's other factors that are not commonly tested: lipoprotein small a, fibrinogen. There's several other factors that can kill you. For example, having elevated lipoprotein small a, which is kind of similar to LDL, if you have high levels of that, or homocysteine is another one. It increases your chances of dropping dead from a heart attack 5 times above normal. Yet it's never checked for in most tests.
Yes.
So I'm not trying to put down doctors. In other words, this is standard medical practice. They only check let's say the more common factors. In other words, if you have a low LDL level, a high LDL level over 100, well, it has to be considerably over 100. Let's say starting at 120. Most doctors will suggest a statin drug. Because
we have to talk about
that. The LDL is associated with a greater incidence of heart attacks and stroke. But even that's a problem, because what they don't say is only oxidized LDL is dangerous. I mean, LDL does a good thing. It transports cholesterol to the body, including to the testes, where the cholesterol is used to manufacture testosterone. People with a high natural testosterone levels almost always have a higher LDL than normal.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, and now you know why. But the point being that In other words, it's incomplete. This is related to what you're saying about these.
Yeah. No, I'm completely with you. This is an interesting subject.
These genetic clotting factors is that if you really want to know the health status, you got to go a little bit deeper. And in regard to the health, look up these tests. And there's a series of tests. I think they used to be called Berkeley heart tests. I don't know if they still call it that, where you get the full spectrum of everything. That really tells you where you stand. Or a coronary calcium score is another one. That's important to know because that's a forerunner of possible future heart disease. I've written about this several times, about a famous study they did years ago where they had 14 elite professional bodybuilders, Mr. Olympic. You know how medical journals are. They don't identify them. But I knew who they were.
Oh, really?
Of the 14, 12 showed elevated calcium scores. Now, get this, Leo. They were having no symptoms, no cardiac symptoms at all, but 12 showed that 2 of them didn't. And one of them I know for sure. I don't know if I should say his name, but he's one of the guys that holds the record for the most Mr. Olympias.
Wow, impressive.
And at the time, he was showing no cardiovascular system. But in a video that he did, he showed the medications he took. I happened to notice one of them was a statin drug.
Fascinating. I've always been wondering why, particularly 2 of the recent Mr. Olympias, because I saw Flex Wheeler had such severe cardiovascular disease, poor man. And I only realized in an in-depth interview when he said he doesn't even know the disease. He said he mispronounced one of them. I don't even know what he was trying to refer to, but one of them was what they call
the focal glomerular.
No, not that. He mentioned the what do they call it when your extremities have atherosclerosis? I forgot what it's called, but the extremities, vascular issues in the extremities.
You talking about intermittent claudication, maybe?
No. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the word for some reason. But there's so many topics about what you just mentioned that I want to bring up. So first of all, about this was so interesting that you bring up how doctors will often show you your lipids, and not all your lipids. Like one of the lipids was lipoprotein(a) that Jerry brought up, which is a very important one. Which, by the way, if people want to learn more about it, there's an awesome guy called Dr. _LPA at Twitter. He's the leading researcher in lipoprotein(a). An interesting tidbit, by the way, Jerry, I don't know if you know, AAS steroids are shown to reduce lipoprotein(a). One of the few things, niacin, steroids, and there's one supplement, another supplement, but very few things. But so there's lipoprotein(a) in your lipids that they won't even show you. But then, like Jerry was saying, there's homocysteine, independent risk factor for cardiovascular disease, fibrinogen, which is it sort of shows you inflammation levels and stuff like that. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, interestingly enough, related to about the steroids lowering you know that growth hormone raises it?
Raises lipoprotein(a)?
Yeah.
What the hell? That's shocking. This is a random. Yeah.
How many people know that?
I thought the steroid one was a one-up. That's interesting.
No.